What's up, everybody? Benny versus the Penny is here. I'm David Gascon. Thanks for joining us for another week of festivities. Week number 9 is upon us. We had the Thursday night affair between the Indianapolis Colts trying to dig themselves out of some hot water against the New York Jets. Colts win that game. They also cover. But, of course, we got a lot more on tap here today. Well, now that being said, as you do follow us throughout the entire season, weeks 1 through 18, and, of course, the postseason as well, make sure you subscribe, you follow us, you click the link at the bottom, a thumbs up, and, of course, hit the notification button. We'll be around all season long. Myself and, of course, the big man on campus, Ben Maller. What's up, Ben?
Yes, top of the morning, Gascon. Top of the morning to you. It's while I was sleeping, I just saw the Aaron Rodgers comment. I was upset, though, because he made those comments on a Friday, which will not do me any good because those comments will be old news by the time I am back on the radio on Sunday. But Rodgers speaking, and as I suspected, he used the word salad to say that he never lied. He merely by the letter of the law, he used a different word, and that if you assume that Aaron Rodgers was vaccinated, you're the idiot because he did not use the word vaccinated. So I'm happy because it confirmed my belief about Aaron Rodgers. It confirmed my belief of what he was going to do, and he did exactly what I thought he was going to do, and so I'm happy about that. But we have games to break down. I almost had a backdoor cover on the Thursday night game. I knew I was cooked. I didn't even think I'd have a chance to get a backdoor cover when the Jets 1 week wonder, not one hit wonder, 1 week wonder, Mike White went snap, crackle, pop, or whatever happened to him in the first quarter, at the end of the first quarter. So the fact that the Jets gave up touchdowns on, I think it was their first 4 or 5 possessions that the Colts went down and scored touchdowns. The fact that the Jets had a chance to cover at the end was shocking. I figured 10.5. If Mike White plays that game, they easily cover the spread. But Josh Johnson got some garbage time comments there, or plays, I should say, late in that game. But so we're 0-1. I'm doing pretty well on the Thursday night game.
Last week was not a week that we want to romanticize about, but there were some games
there were a couple of things that did not. The Bengals should have beaten the Jets. I got burned by Mike White, and they were defensively than the Jets, and then Mike White has to go off and be Kurt Warner for a week. So pathetic. Things you do not expect to see.
No. Yeah. But the first 6 weeks was favorable for you, at least in a couple different double-digit outcomes. Weeks 1, weeks 3, of course, and then we tipped the scales. I guess weeks 7 and weeks 8, little bit of a challenge so far. Now, I did make an amendment, obviously, to my air last week with the Thursday night affair with Denver and Cleveland. So we at least got that right. That flipped the script for you. So you got the game over 500, so 7-6. But obviously, week number 8, you and the Penny not doing so well. And of course, quickly remove that as Penny and yourself are even identical records as we go to the second half of the season.
All right, so we are going to provide, if you're new, and I see there's some new people in this week, we have the chat. I see Roscoe the Parrot has checked in, which is good. So we'll have not only Benny versus the Penny, but Roscoe the Parrot and David checking in there from Florida. And thumbs up, though. Remember, thumbs up, tell a friend, no commercials, an act of public service. At some point, there'll be lots of commercials to complain about, but we're doing commercial free. We're having fun here, a public service. So,
is this first game fun?
Yeah, well, we say handicap every game, even the dog dog games, dog food games.
Yeah.
We'll start. You see it right there. The Texans and the Dolphins, 1-7, 1-7. It's on Fox. Chris Myers. That's not a good sign when you get assigned to this game. Chris Myers and Daryl Moose Johnson have the call here. The Dolphins open. Well, you got a trip to Miami, so it's not that bad. Dolphins, a 7-point favorite at the beginning of the week. Dolphins are a 5.5-point favorite at Hard Rock Stadium. You ever been to Hard Rock Stadium in Florida?
No, I've only been to the Tropicana Field, and that place is a dump, so no.
Well, I've been to Hard Rock Stadium. It had a different name. I think it was called Pro
Joe
Players.
Robbie? Oh, yeah, Pro Players Stadium.
Yeah, I think it was Pro Player. It was the Marlins were playing in the World Series many, many years ago. So anyway, it's going to be sunny, 75 degrees at kickoff, typical early November weather in South Florida. And mentioned the Dolphins 5.5-point favorites. And this line moved by 1.5 because Tyrod Taylor is back. He's back from a hamstring injury. And while I have bashed Tyrod Taylor over the years, I respect him in this environment. I'm taking the Texans. Remember, Taylor, when he started the year, he was 2-0 against the spread. And since the Tyrod Taylor injury, the Texans with Davis Mills are 1-5 against the spread. 1-5. The Texans outscored their opponents with Tyrod Taylor in the first 6 quarters, 51-35. They were plus 16 with Taylor, Cleveland and Jacksonville. Without him, they've been outscored 206-68 the past 26 quarters. So they've only scored in the last 26 quarters, as mentioned there, a total of 17 more points than they did the first 6 quarters. Now, I think Houston is terrible, and the Dolphins also. These are 2 even teams. They royally stink, and this is the ultimate something has to give situation, Gascon, because Miami 0-3 at home, Houston 0-4 on the road, and Miami, if you look at some of the numbers here, they're shocking. They're the 5th team since the merger back in 1970 to have a winning percentage of 125 or worse to lay at least 7 points. So this is unprecedented that they're favored by this many. They were at the beginning of the week to lay 7 points. So they're 5.5 now. 2 even teams. Take the underdog, and I will do that. I'll take the Texans 23 and the Dolphins 20.
Penny's going with the Miami Dolphins. I must applaud you for your efforts to actually spend longer than 30 seconds capping this game is commendable.
Yeah, I'm a loser. No, I actually think the Texans getting 5.5 because Tua sucks also.
Yeah.
Late Night Trump Tester says Texans-Dolphins is like a restaurant soft opening, very few people in attendance. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I understand that. All right, moving on. Here's another crap game. Denver 4-4 at Dallas 6-1. It's on Fox. Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olson have the call at AT&T Stadium. The Cowboys opened a 7.5-point favorite, but this game bumped up to 10 because of a quarterback situation. Also, the fact that the Broncos traded away Von Miller. Good trade. Thank you for that, Gascon. Good job by your Broncos handing Von Miller to the Rams. White flag trade there. I love how the Broncos are like, oh, no, we're not giving up. No, we're not giving up. Well, the front office is giving up. Yes, the Broncos also ravaged by injury. But I am still going to take a shot here with Teddy Bridgewater and your Denver Broncos. I love getting – don't go – I love getting double digits. I do. All I need, Gascon, is a special teams touchdown, a key turnover by Dak Prescott. Who's to say Dak makes it through this game healthy? And you also have, we saw in the Jets game the other night, we have the backdoor cover as a possibility. The Cowboys are in crazy territory right now as a team that's, they just cover the spread every week. First 7 games, Cowboys are 7-0 against the spread. And there has not been a team to start 8-0 against the spread since the 2007 Patriots.
Oof.
So it's been a long, long time since we've had a team go to 8-0. Is this the regression to the mean gambling wise for the Dallas Cowboys? And Teddy Bridgewater, even though his numbers this year have been bad recently, 7-1 against the spread all time career as a dog of a touchdown or more. So you're getting 10. Also, Teddy Bridgewater, some of the other numbers here, 18-3 in his career against the spread as a road dog. So I'm going to take a shot with the Broncos. And I know Mike McCarthy, the coach in Dallas, is going yabba dabba doo because Dak Prescott's back and all that. But the Cowboys have been crazy. The numbers at home versus the road, they score – so far they've scored 14 more points a game on the home field versus the road. But I'm going to take a shot with the Broncos here, and eventually this thing will even out. You're not going to go 16-0 against the spread, and you're likely going to lose when you're a big favorite, at least lose against the point spread. I'm not saying the Cowboys are going to lose the game, but all the Broncos have to do is kind of hang around, and I believe that will happen. And the Cowboys also make a lot of dumb plays on offense and defense. They're 32nd in penalties per game. They're last. They have the most penalties per game, 10 penalties on average per game. I'll take the Cowboys 33, Broncos 24, Denver.
Penny's also going with the Broncos in this one. As soon as you said the Cowboys have a lot of dumb penalties and do a lot of dumb things, someone give us a thumbs down. So you triggered somebody, obviously.
That's a Cowboy apologist right there. We don't need them watching this. We do not need Cowboy apologists. Queen Roxanne says, do not curse the Broncos. No. You know who you should blame? Blame the front office. I had nothing to do with this, but thank you for Von Miller. Queen Roxanne is going to now be a fan of the Rams. She's going to ram it all day, ram it all night because the Rams got Von Miller. And, so that's very exciting. Queen Roxanne, who else do we have? Says, sorry, Queen Roxanne. This is from Roscoe the Parrot. The Rocky Mountain High jackasses sucked. He's going with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So he's taking the Cowboys there. I thought he said the Ricky Mountains. Is there a Ricky Mountain in the Denver area? Is that?
I'm not aware of that. But I am going to say, as we lead into this one, speaking of the word suck, the Minnesota Vikings, I know that city absolutely adores your show. But man, this Viking team sucks. What a gutless performance last week against the banged up Dallas team.
Technically, they don't suck. They're mediocre, which is worse than sucking. Because if you're sucking, the NFL rewards bad behavior by giving you a high draft pick. If you're average, you don't even get that.
Yeah.
So they're worse than sucking. But yeah, I got to get to Minnesota at one point here. We do very well there. Minnesota. As far as listener contribution, I would say the top markets are Minnesota and Cincinnati.
What about Seattle?
Seattle, we do pretty well there, but I'm talking about like actual contributing during the show.
Oh,
I would say Minnesota and Cincinnati are at the very top there, with a wink and a nod to our friends in Boston. All right, so Minnesota 3-4 at Baltimore 5-2 on Fox with Adam Amin and Mark Schlereth. They have the call. Ravens a 6-point favorite. It's going to be cloudy in the 40s at M&T Bank Stadium, the stadium that Sports with Coleman built. I'm going to take Minnesota here, Gascon. I'm going to take the Vikings here. I know we just ripped them, but they did get pantsed by a backup quarterback on a game-winning drive late last week, Cooper Rush. And now they go from the JV to the varsity and Lamar Jackson coming off a bye.
Yep.
The Ravens coming off the off week. But I'm not going to go crazy on this, but I am going to pick the game. I'm going to take the Vikings. Kirk Cousins actually matches up pretty well with what the Ravens typically do. He's had success against teams that blitz. The Ravens like to blitz. Cousins is the fourth most blitz quarterback in the NFL this season. So I'm going to take a shot. And historically, Mike Zimmer, if you look at the comps on Mike Zimmer following a loss under Zimmer, a straight-up loss, he has a 660 winning percentage as coach of the Vikings. And the Ravens have not been a very good favorite this year. They are 1-4 against the spread as a favorite. So the numbers are leaning actually in the favor of the Purple People Eaters this week. And the Vikings, while they have 4 losses, the 4 losses are by a combined total of 15 points. So they genuinely are just bad enough to lose by a close margin. And so I will roll the dice in favor of this being another Heartbreak Hotel situation for the Vikings, but they will cover the number, getting almost a touchdown on the road. Ravens 33, Vikings 30, the final.
Penny's also going with the Minnesota Vikings in this one.
See, you spat a loogie at the Vikings, and both myself and the Penny agree.
Now, a gun to your head, and you had to watch one of these 4 games only in the morning time slot. Which one are you compelled to watch?
So those are the 4 games on the graphic right there. Boy, I would watch the Patriots, which is the next game we're gonna get to. That would be.
Now, is that because they're on the come? I mean, they've been.
Yeah, Mac Jones actually didn't play all that well against the Chargers, and they still won. But this is a turning point game, Gascon, because the Patriots, the next 3 weeks, if they can just beat the teams they're supposed to beat, they'll get to 7-4. Yeah. 7-4, you're in prime position to make the playoffs. But I am reminded they also did only beat, prior to last week, they only beat the Texans and the Jets. But that's the next game. So New England and Carolina, both 4-4. It's on CBS. Greg Gumbel and Adam Archuleta have the call. So very exciting there. The Patriots, they got the hook on this game. The Patriots opened 2.5. They're favored by 3.5 in this game. So that's, in gambling parlance, if you're watching this, you're probably a gambler. The numbers you want to stay away from are 7.5, 3.5. You want to be at 6.5 or 2.5. Most games are decided by 3 or 7 or 10 points, somewhere in that area. So if you can avoid those numbers and be under those numbers, you're good. If you're over those numbers, you're putting a little more of your neck on the line. I think that's common sense, but there's some new people who are giving us thumbs up, by the way, on the video. So, all right, mostly cloudy, 63 degrees at Bank of America Stadium. I am going to take here the Patriots. So I am taking the Patriots. They have found their mojo offensively. They have not necessarily found – Mac Jones had one of his worst games, a midseason bump down, but still New England third in total yards the last 3 weeks. Most of that because of performances against the performance against the Cowboys. But actually, only the Cowboys and Ravens have been better over the last 3 weeks than the Patriots. And I did notice that the Patriot offense has been, let's throw it behind the line of scrimmage, let's throw those bubble screens. Mac Jones, second in completions this year of 5 yards or less. So the Patriots have been slow and steady with him. Now, they have opened it up a little bit more in the last couple of weeks, but still, overall, he's number 2 in the entire NFL, and he wasn't very accurate last week. The defense destroyed Justin Herbert, and you got to think if Sam Darnold ends up starting, Sam Darnold's like a finger painting at quarterback. It's not pretty, it's ugly, it's all over the place, and you should be able to just burn that thing up. Patriots are 1-4 in home games. They're 3-0 on the road. This game is a road game. So you see the some of the numbers there on the road numbers, and if Sam Darnold plays either way, Carolina's at a distinct disadvantage here because Bill Belichick should destroy. I know he claims his kid is the defensive coordinator, but we believe otherwise. That Belichick should be able to manipulate Sam Darnold or XFL reject P.J. Walker, who will be the quarterback. Either one of those guys. Darnold. In his career, the most famous moment of Sam Darnold's career, you remember what it was, Gascon?
Give it to me.
It was the Ghost game. That was against the Patriots, where I'm seeing Ghost. Yeah. And he was mic'd up, and ESPN got in trouble. NFL Films got in trouble because they broadcast that. Darnold is 0-3 against Belichick, seeing Ghost. 6 career interceptions, 1 touchdown pass. And he was also under the concussion protocol. I have not seen an update today whether or not he's going to play or not, but I assume he's going to play. He also got a shoulder issue. They're making every excuse they can. Patriots 27 and the Panthers 20.
Penny's also going with New England. Patriots are 0-5 against the spread the last 5 against these Panthers. So, I don't know. As a couple of guys said, Jake Delhomme's not walking through that door.
Well, Supermarket Steve is not walking through that door, but he does ask a legitimate question. He says, why does Gaskin always look like he just ran 3 miles on the beach? Why is that?
It's because your king requires us to wear a certain material on our face, and then obviously it has an impact on the cheeks. That's why.
Is that right?
Yeah, and then we have certain mandates at certain places of business that we work at. And
no, but your forehead, your whole face looks like you've been on this. It's not just your cheeks there. It's
that's not true.
Is it true?
Why are you attacking my vanity? That's supposed to be for the visitors to the show.
No. I'm actually attacking my vanity. I think the reason that you look like you've been in the sun, I haven't been in the sun since the 90s. This shirt I'm wearing is bright yellow, but no, I'm like pasty white guy. I don't see the sun at all. So side by side, it's like before and after you see the sun. I would be the before, and Gascon would be the after.
You got to be like on the National Geographic shows when you're up in like Alaska, fishing or chopping wood.
I could ice fish in Minnesota.
There you go.
Out ice fishing in northern Minnesota or Wisconsin.
There you go. You got your cooler with beer and tea, and then obviously you're just fishing in one of those little watering holes.
Yeah. Isn't there? I think I read a stat somewhere along the way that Wisconsin either has as many lakes or it's almost the same number or even more than Minnesota, but they didn't use the slogan, the land of 10,000 lakes. So Minnesota gets all the credit.
Probably has something to do with the fact that people want to go to Minnesota and not Wisconsin.
Wow, look at that. My brother moved to Wisconsin. But I have not gone to since he moved. So there's that. But I do have a nice meal waiting for me. One of our listeners, he cooks food all night at I think Artez is his name. He cooks food at a soul food restaurant in Milwaukee.
Oh, okay.
And he invited me down. So I'm down for some fried chicken and some cornbread or whatever.
The cheese curds, man.
Well, yeah, if he has that on the menu, I'm all about that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Next up for us, we've got Buffalo 5-2 at Jacksonville. Roscoe's taking the Patriots also. Roscoe the Parrot. Buffalo 5-2, Jacksonville 1-6 on CBS. You see the game right there. Andrew Catalan and James Lofton have the call. The Bills opened a 10.5-point favorite. The public loves them some Buffalo Bills. The Bills a 15-point favorite. I get it. I understand it. TIAA Bank Stadium. Buffalo has been a team that has dominated the ugly ducklings of the NFL. They have fattened up their record, beating up, shutting out the Dolphins and the Texans and just dominating those teams. So everything indicates Buffalo's going to win by 15 or by 20 probably. They're going to win by 20. They should win this game 45-10 is what they should win this game. But I'm a gambler, and I don't like betting big favorites, and so I am going to take the Jacksonville Jags plus 15, home dog, plus 2 touchdowns. And I'm hoping – I don't normally believe in jinxes, Gascon, but I'm hoping the Manning cast jinx kicks in here. The Manning brothers have cursed every active NFL player that has showed up on their Fugazi grab-ass broadcast there. So Josh Allen is the next. Every player that's been on there, the next week their team is lost. And so we'll see if it continues this week. And they don't have to lose the game straight up. They just merely have to lose the game against the number. This is the first time that Buffalo has been a double-digit road favorite since 2004. All right, so it's been 17 years. Buffalo has not been a double-digit favorite in consecutive weeks like they have been the last 2 weeks since Jim Kelly was playing quarterback. 1992.
Wow, the K-gun.
1992, that great offense. Marv Levy there.
Thurman Thomas, James Lofton, Don Beebe.
They had some good players. Good
I
players
agree
on
with
that Buffalo team, just good enough to lose the Super Bowl every year. But this is the first time since 1992 that they've been double-digit favorites 4 straight weeks. So fun gambling fact. And I'm going to try to tell you why I like Jacksonville. There's really no good reason. They suck. They got beaten by Geno Smith. Now they go from the JV to the varsity, and Josh Allen. And, James Robinson's injured. He's got a heel problem. He may not play in this game. But I am betting against the public. I like betting against the public. And as I point out in all of these games, all it takes is Josh Allen to have a bad game, Josh Allen to get hurt, or special teams play. Remember, Jacksonville was up 19-10 over your guy, the little fella, Alligator Arms Murray, at home. And so they ended up losing that game, but they were up 9 points late third quarter against Arizona. And that's before Arizona fell apart. Now they've just been terrible lately, the Cardinals. But this is a different game. I'm going to close my eyes here, and I'm going to cover my ears. I've got headphones on, and I will shut my mouth. And I am going to take Duval County, and I'll take the Jags to cover. Bills 37, Jags 23.
Penny's going with the Bills. 4-1 against the spread last 5 in this matchup. Natron Means not in uniform. Mark Brunell not in uniform. Keenan McCardell not in uniform for Jaguars.
Not walking through that door. Tom Coughlin's not going to be coaching the game. How great is it, though? You can lose a game 37-23 and still win the bet.
Yeah.
Isn't that awesome? Jackson, if you lost 37-23, you said, wow, that's a terrible game. You lost by 14 points, but you're still within the margin of error as a gambler.
Unless you were one of those people that took the Rams last week and that had that 16, right?
Well, yeah. Well, the Texans came back, though. They got some garbage time points.
22 in the fourth quarter. That was ugly.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Roscoe, the Parrot, said, Jags, classic, ugly NFL dog play. So he agrees with me.
Yeah.
See, me and Roscoe, we both follow the same gambling principles here. We do. Dan says they come by land of ice and snow. They're 0-4 in the Super Bowl. He says they're the Buffalo Bills.
Bills of the Vikings.
And the Minnesota Vikings also. So anyway, all right, moving on here. Late Night Drug Tester says part of a 6-team parlay. So he's, I think, taking Jacksonville.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. All right, next up, Cleveland and Cincinnati. This is some people call it the Civil War game. We call it the Dickster game because this is the 2 favorite teams of the great Dick and Dayton, radio caller savant. We love the Dickster. Cleveland 4-4, Cincinnati, you see 5-3. It's on CBS with Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. The Bengals opened up a 3-point favorite. This game has stayed the same. Bengals by 3. I am taking the home team. I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals, or Bungles, as they were last week, in the Dickster Bowl. Spitting mad. Both these teams should be spitting mad. The Browns lost at home to the Steelers. The Bengals lost to the Jets and that phenom Mike White. And the Browns without Odell Beckham. He gone. Bye-bye. He's out of here. Odell was released. We had that on the overnight show last night. He got his walking papers today. And so they have cited, they being Cleveland, with Baker Mayfield, who has – here's a fun fact. Now that Odell's gone, in Baker Mayfield's career with Odell Beckham, he had more interceptions than touchdowns when throwing to Odell Beckham Jr. And is this the first time ever that a player has successfully used their father to end up released? I believe it is. I don't recall an NFL player using something their father did, and I believe that was intentional, that the patriarch of the Beckham family was weaponized by OBJ Jr. Mission accomplished. That's good work by your child is not happy at their job, and you can help free them from a contract. Good job by Odell Beckham Sr. to pull that off. Browns have lost 3 of 4. Cleveland has only 41 points the last 3 weeks. They've not been a juggernaut. Baker Mayfield, you put up 15 against the Steelers. I love the Bengals in this game. I think the Bengals win this game, and they don't blow out the Browns because nobody really blows out the Browns. But Bengals 26, Joe Burrow and company over Cleveland 20.
Penny's also going with the Bengals. You know, Cleveland is 2-11 against the spread in the last 13 matchups with this team from Cincinnati.
Yeah, and Joe Burrow's looked really good in some of these games against Cleveland, as I remember. He's had some big passing performances there. Dan writes in, he says, OBJ to Vegas. Write it down. OBJ
Probably the last
Vegas.
place I think he needs to go, right?
Lost Wages, Nevada.
Yeah,
what about him back to the Giants? Will he go back to the Giants?
They don't need any more drama.
Well, here's the great test. Does he want to go a place where he's going to get the ball endlessly, or does he want to go to a place that has a chance to win? Like every fan's like, oh, you want to win a Super Bowl, so you go to you cherry pick a good team and you go to the Rams or somebody like that. But OBJ, he just wants the ball, so he'd be happy going to the freaking Jets if they throw him the ball 15 targets a game. That's what he wants.
Ooh, can you imagine him? Can you imagine him in Arizona? Wow.
Well, that would be if he doesn't want to be on a Super Bowl contender.
7-1 team, best in the NFC West.
Longest active losing streak right now.
Side of a DeAndre Hopkins
falling apart. Free
Kyler
falling.
Murray throwing you.
Free falling. All right, next up. Speaking of Vegas, they are the next game on the board. You see the Las Vegas New York Giants matchup. This is one of Marcel's locks of the week. Marcel, we've moved on from food picks. Marcel in Brooklyn picking the Giants. Shocking. Big football guy. He also has the Seahawks this week, and he thinks they'll beat the bye, so that's a good pick by him. But he did pick the Giants. Giants, terrible, 2-5, 2-6. Horrible record, 1-3 on the home field. This CBS game. Kevin Harlan, Trent Green. I am taking the Giants. Raiders are a 3-point favorite in this game. Everybody betting on Las Vegas. This is they're giving money away game. The public loading up here. And the Giants have been a terrible home team, betting-wise. They've been bad. But I'm going to take a shot with the Giants. I don't know which Raider team is going to show up. They have every possible distraction. If you look for the distractions as a gambler, one of their star players released because he killed a 23-year-old woman driving recklessly drunk, and she burned up alive. Henry Ruggs, who should rot in jail for several years, and he will, driving under the influence homicide. So he's gone. The Raiders also go early game East Coast, which is usually a bad spot for Western teams, and they have a key matchup next week against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in a primetime Sunday night game. So all of those would indicate a less than brilliant performance by the Raiders. Nobody gets up to play a 2-5 Giants team. The Giants are getting Saquon Barkley back. They did look pretty good. I don't know how much of it's the Giants and how much of it's that the Chiefs sucked last week. And Derek Carr has been just monster mashing here for the Raiders. He completed over 90% of his passes last week. The Raiders dominating of late, or 2 weeks ago, rather. I'm going to take the Giants, though. I think they win this game in an upset. Giants 20 and the Raiders a stinker. Their first loss in the post-John Gruden era. Raiders 17.
Penny's going with the Raiders in this one. Road team 4-1 last 5 against the spread in this matchup.
All right. And remember, there's some new people. I see the audience turning over, the live audience. Most people watch this on demand on YouTube, but if you're new to the party, thumbs up right there.
Yeah. Got a lot of hate and vitriol coming my way. It's kind of nice to see. It's something I haven't experienced for a week.
That's what the Maller Militia does.
It's good.
Supermarket Steve says, drive sober or get pulled over. No, the catchphrase Supermarket Steve is the phrase from the PSAs I do every year is, my favorite one is they'll see you before you see them.
Oh, that's good.
But in this case, it is drive sober or get pulled over because they didn't see him before they see you. And I, again, want to go back. I have a buddy of mine, old sports writer buddy of mine who lives in Vegas. He's lived there for almost 20 years. He used to live in L.A., and he says that Vegas is the worst city he's ever been to. He's lived all over the country. But for driving, because the party never ends in Sin City. And there's at any moment, whether it's 3 in the morning or 3 in the afternoon, there are drunkards all over the place driving around.
Would you feel more comfortable driving at night on the Strip in Vegas or driving on the interstate in Tijuana?
Well, I don't have to worry about the federales pulling me over and asking for a donation. So in Vegas, I think I've driven in Vegas,
Man,
a bunch. I guess I've just been.
I mean, when you head into Tijuana, it's like the Autobahn on steroids. Like it's pretty freaking bad.
Yeah, I've not done that, so I couldn't tell you You go to Tijuana a lot? You down there quite a bit?
No, but I just remember back in the day when when I went down there, I remember it was it was nothing like I'd ever experienced before in my life. It was, the taxi drivers and people just driving, there were no signs, no police, no laws, no nothing. So, I mean, not much changed.
I know from watching documentaries that India, any of the big cities in India would be the worst, from what I've seen, or somewhere like in Afghanistan or somewhere like that, obviously. But yeah, Vegas, as far as drunk drivers, right up there. Alf's upset. Yeah. You've upset. Would you like to apologize to Alf, the alien opiner? He says that who says we're all haters? He's upset.
No, sorry.
Yeah. Daniel says, knock on wood if you're with me. And the VB, the Saints Pels lady, says, I don't hate and vitriol you gag on. You're a great foil to the Penny's wit and satoric repertoire. So that's from someone new in
Very
the chat.
Kind.
Where, yeah, she's complimenting. She says, you're pretty funny too, Ben. I'm pretty funny looking. I know that. Matt, the Warrior Raider A's fan, says he would let Blind Scott drive me around before he voluntarily drove in Mexico. So
might not be a bad call.
A nice vote of confidence. All right, next up, the last of the early games. It is Atlanta, 3-4, and they take on the New Orleans Saints at 5-2 on Fox. Friend of the Maryland Militia, Kenny Albert and Jonathan Vilma have the call. The Saints opened up a 5.5-point favorite. They're all the way up to 6.5. A reaction to what happened last week, the win over Tampa at the Superdome. Sunny and 68 degrees at kickoff here. And I'm going to take the Falcons getting almost a touchdown. I don't buy the Saints with – I know they're getting Taysom Hill supposedly back, but Trevor Siemian is expected to start this game as of a few hours ago. The Saints, even when they win, they're not going to win by a wide margin here. The Saints are coming off their Super Bowl win over the Buccaneers, and the casuals are all loading up. They're loading up on New Orleans. Yeah, you have the percentage at 54%. I have the numbers actually higher that the public's betting the Saints in this game. And a lot of people are buying into the gambler's fallacy that whatever they just saw, they think is going to happen again. And I don't think that's the case. And listen, Atlanta lost to Carolina, which should be like 3 losses the way that was Sam Darnold. My God. The wise guys are betting on Atlanta. So I'm on the side of them. And Matty Ice, who's not very good, but historically as a dog, of 6 or more points, has a .583 winning percentage against the spread. So there's not a lot to break down on this game. It's a typical NFC South game. Atlanta's not very good. The Saints, they're going to be methodical, running that rudimentary offense with Trevor Siemian or Taysom Hill for that matter. Either way, I will take the Saints 24, Falcons 20, Atlanta winning the money.
Penny's going with Atlanta in this one. Maybe Jamal Anderson makes a return to the lineup. Chris Chandler, Tony Martin.
Yes. Well, you can bring back none of that. You go old school. You go back
Tim
to like the old Atlanta Falcons, and you can do the Dirty Bird, right? Yeah. I was in a sports book. I was covering a fight in Vegas when up until that point, it was the most painful loss in Viking history, non-Super Bowl, when Minnesota, remember they were 15-1?
Oh yeah, they lost to
Atlanta. They lost to the Falcons on a I think it was a Gary Anderson field goal or something. I remember it was a field goal at the end of the game, but I was in a sports book, and it was insane. It was wild that the Vikings, they seemed like they were invincible that year, and they lost to lowly Atlanta. And that gave us the Atlanta-Denver Super Bowl, I believe.
Yeah.
Wasn't that
Yeah.
the Atlanta-Denver Super Bowl?
And then Eugene Robinson got popped
Yeah.
with the prostitute.
NFL Man of the Year, Eugene Robinson. Picked up the award and then went out and picked up a hooker right after that. Yeah. Was that part of the package? You can pick up a trophy and then you get the Lady of the Night after that as part of the deal. Probably not.
Oh, man.
Probably not part of the deal.
Things happen in Miami, huh?
Miami. We have not had one of those big pre-Super Bowl situations. Have NFL teams locked down players? Remember, the greatest of all time was the Raiders. Remember the Raiders? What was that cat's name? They went to Mexico. Yeah, I forget his name, but he got shot. He's had a crazy life, that guy.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Did we have an incident in San Francisco when Denver played against Carolina?
Well, that was
Super Bowl 50.
15?
2015, yeah.
Yeah. I don't, off the top of my head, I don't remember. But nothing as famous as Eugene Robinson or the Raiders offensive lineman that went. What was that cat's name? Boy, how soon we forget.
I was going to say it was like Barrett or
Brian. Barrett Robin. Dan had
Barrett Robinson, there you
go. Dan and Matt, you win golden tickets.
You can't give him a golden ticket on this.
I can't. Tapped in Tommy says Stanley Wilson. That's another good one. Oh, the Bengals and 49ers, right? Wasn't that Bengals 49ers? And they couldn't find Stanley Wilson, and he was skiing in his hotel room. He had the powder was in his room. Man.
Little pregame warm-up like Lawrence Taylor.
Neil in Miami says he cannot wait to hear the Friday podcast. Yeah, Danny G making a first appearance on the podcast. Danny G Radio popping in there, catching up. He was on the show.
Neil told me that you need to address him by his full name, not Neil in Miami. So
Neil V. Yeah, Neil V. Thank you, Neil. Appreciate that. Vaska Boynikov.
That's not bad.
Did I get that right?
I think you did. I think you stuck the landing on it.
Thank you. All right. We actually come from similar parts of my bloodline comes from the Ukraine where Neil is from. So we have similar. Boy, that story he told though, right? The story made it crazy about his background there. Some of the things he's experienced in his life. Alf says, "I'm sorry that I am preoccupied, Ben. I'm enjoying a nicely well done steak."
What a dick.
So you got that package in the mail. You got the package I sent you, Alf, with the nice steak there. All right, let's move on. The late games, the late television window, the Los Angeles Chargers of Inglewood, in the hood in Inglewood, and the Chargers 4-3 taking on the Philadelphia Eagles 3-5. It's on CBS. Not a great game.
No.
Ian Eagle and Charles Davis have the call. Chargers a 1.5 point favorite in this game. The public loading up on Los Angeles. The wise guys are actually on the side of Philadelphia. It's going to be mostly cloudy, temperatures in the 40s at Lincoln Financial Field. I attempted to find a reason to bet on the Eagles. I could not do it. The only thing that gives you pause here is the last 2 weeks, Justin Herbert has been terrible. He's not only been a quarterback, he has sucked. He's got 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions the last 2 games against the Ravens and the Patriots, and there was a week off between that. So you wonder, have people figured out something about Justin Herbert now, and he's going to have to make adjustments because a passer rating of 67, which sucks the last 2 games. Now, the Eagles should be the perfect tonic. They don't do anything that well on defense. They don't have great linebackers. They don't really stop the run. Austin Eckler should run wild for Los Angeles in this game. The Eagles have 3 wins over the Panthers, Lions, and Falcons, a collective 7-16. Now, most of those losses are by the Lions. And the reason to not bet on the Eagles is because it's not like you're getting a huge quarterback advantage. Jalen Hurts, the last 3 weeks, he's only slightly better than Justin Herbert. So they're pretty much the same lately. The Chargers have more talent here. And Jalen Hurts has never been a home favorite. Now, this is his second year. He started some games last year. He started all the games this year. He's never been a home favorite. 3-2 against the spread entering the week at home as a dog, but it's only 1.5 points. If this was 3 or more points, I would consider taking Philadelphia, but 1.5. The Chargers win this game, and I actually think they'll win this by much more than that. Chargers 30, and the Eagles 20.
Penny also going with Los Angeles in this one. Chargers not a good West to East Coast team, but see what happens with the Bolts.
Matt's betting on the Eagles. The Eagles I just hate betting on these terrible teams like Philadelphia. And people are making too much because the Eagles making too much out of the fact the Eagles beat the Lions by a gazillion points last week. They're the Lions. Don't put any of that. Matt from the Bay Area, the Raider A's Warriors fan, says Eagles and the points. The Chargers were horrible in the 10 a.m. window earlier this season, but that's against the Ravens, though. That was against the Ravens. Yeah. Let's see what they do now. Wasn't that game against the Chargers an early? That was an early game, right? Or against the Chiefs, Chargers-Chiefs. That was an early game. They beat them.
All right. They did. Absolutely right. Now, is Eddie going to this game?
Well, no, because he's not traveling to Philadelphia, so he will not be.
No,
he will not be traveling to Philadelphia. And this is Marcel's other lock. He liked the Eagles, so he had Eagles, Giants, and Seahawks. And I will make a bet with you, Gascon. Now, I don't know much about Marcel, but when he first started calling me, he called me about Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. Marcel, I thought he was a fake caller. I thought he was bogus, but he turned out to be legit. So he loves the Seahawks and the Giants. Those are his 2 favorite teams. So I have a feeling every Friday when we do Marcel's picks of the week, he's going to pick Seattle, the Giants, and Philadelphia because those are the only 3 teams he really knows. We'll find out if I'm right. We'll find out if I'm right next week. Inquiring minds would like to know.
3 awful teams so far this season.
Yeah, moving on. Green Bay 7-1 at Kansas City. 4-4. It's on Fox. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. You see the records there. And the Chiefs opened up a 2.5-point favorite. They're favored by 7.5. Your new favorite quarterback. You've got to leave Kyler Murray behind. Your new favorite quarterback, Gascon, is Aaron Rodgers. That's your guy. Feel the love. He's not playing. He's out with the COVID. And that means that the Jordan Love era takes over at Arrowhead. 68 degrees at kickoff here as the Pack attack getting over a touchdown. And I am going to take, this is one of my 5-star picks of the week. I'm taking Green Bay plus 7.5. Now, why is that? Here's what the Packers do. Okay. You got a new quarterback, young quarterback, not a rookie. He's been around, been with the NFL for a couple years now. Elementary offense, a lot of running the football. You can do that against Kansas City, safe passes. He does have, though, Jordan Love, a tactical ballistic missile to deploy here in Devontae Adams, who's back from his own COVID timeout. But it's more of a bet against Kansas City. There's no reason the Chiefs, the way they've played over the last year, should be favored by this many points against anybody. Kansas City is 4-15 against the spread. Their last 19 games, they're 0-8 against the spread when favored by at least 7 points, which is similar to this spot. And listen, they couldn't cover against the Giants. The Packers with Jordan Love, I think Jordan Love will be at least as good as Daniel Jones, and they have better players than the Giants have. And I have to wait. I have to see Patrick Mahomes have a breakout game and not turn the ball over. I did want to mention there's a comment that Brady Quinn made on the pregame, or actually it's postgame for my show with Jonas. He brought up a great point. He said that he believes what's happened to the Chiefs right now is that teams have started to play a drop back defense. They put all 8 people in coverage, similar to what Patrick Mahomes had when he was at Texas Tech. Remember, in college, Mahomes was not consistently good. He was inconsistent. He'd have some big games, but he threw a lot of turnovers. He had a lot of mistakes in college. And the NFL, he hasn't had that many mistakes, but it seems like NFL teams have gone back to that where they force Mahomes to just check down, become a check down Charlie, and he doesn't want to do that. And as a result, Mahomes 2-6 against the spread as a favorite this season. And so there's no reason. Kansas City hasn't dominated anyone. Good teams, bad teams. The Packers are a good team with who knows what at quarterback. But with Joe Buck and Troy Aikman there, the Chiefs will win the game, but they're only going to win it by a field goal. Chiefs 27, Packers 24, the final.
Penny going with Kansas City in this one. We shall see.
All right. Matt says Kansas City is the pick as much as it pains me to say that. No, don't do that. Late night drug tester pointing out Kansas City's defense is brutal. That is accurate. Supermarket Steve, who predicted that Von Miller would be injured on Saturday in the third quarter. So I didn't know the Rams play on Saturday. Roscoe the Parrot checks in. Supermarket Steve says Kansas City needs to dink and dunk. They dink, dunk, Dak. David and Roscoe the Parrot say Chiefs not good enough to cover inflated spread. Exactly. Good job by you, Roscoe the Parrot. Outstanding. Outstanding. And if you're new to the Benny versus the Penny, welcome. Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Help us out. Tell a friend. This is a small-time operation. And enjoy it. I want you to enjoy this because I have a feeling, Gascon, in 2022, this thing is going to be filled with massive commercials and big advertising, and it's going to be amazing. Well,
and lots of complaints about commercials.
Yeah, like the podcast. I don't get. Can you explain? I'm not that bright, Gascon. Can you explain to me why people complain about commercials on the podcast? They have this thing you can fast forward. I shouldn't say this, but you can fast forward through podcast commercials. Can you not?
You can, but it is a problem when you're on the road and you have to push the fast forward button multiple times to get through 30 or 60 or 90-second spots. I mean, the worst part is that the podcasts that we produce should not warrant 12 to 15 different ads, especially since we're not getting anything kicked down to us for said ads.
Well, that is true. That is true. I do a lot of commercials, but I'm thinking I don't get the same fee. In fact, I don't get any fee for doing most of these commercials. Right. So
anyway. You have three when you open up, you have three when it ends, and then you have at least 6 in the middle. And I don't control any of that, unfortunately, because when we first did it,
neither do I. I don't control. Yeah. Well, when we first did it, we didn't have a lot of people listening, and now there's a lot of people listening. So anyway, all right, moving on. Arizona 7-1. Your Cardinals, boy, they're falling apart. Arizona falling apart here. San Francisco, you see their record on the screen: 3-4, 0-3 at home. This is one of those something's going to give games, possibly, unless it doesn't.
Can you acknowledge the team with the 7-1 record?
Well, it peaked too soon. I will admit that. I think we can all agree on that. The Cardinals peaked too soon. Kevin Kugler and Mark Sanchez. That's disrespect. How upset are you, Gascon? I mean, that's not the filet mignon broadcast team calling this game. You'd think the Cardinals, 7-1 team, they'd have a big announcing crew there. That's not an A crew calling this game. 49ers, a 1-point favorite in this situation. They opened a 3-point favorite, but they are 1 point. 59 degrees in the Bay Area in Santa Clara at Levi's Stadium. And I am taking the 49ers. Woo! Go Niners! Go. Ram fans for Niners this week. I like the 49ers. Now, I actually do like this game a lot. Green Bay, and you don't like this, Gascon, but Green Bay gave the blueprint on how to slow down Alligator Arms Murray and the Cardinals. What a just terrible performance. I mean, my God, that's not a legit championship team. You can't beat the Packers without all their receivers at home. My God. The 49ers actually almost beat Arizona with Trey Lance at quarterback. They'll be a little bit better with Jimmy Garoppolo, and he gets his opportunity here. He's back unless he gets hurt in the middle of the game. But the plan here, the 49ers have found a running back. This Elijah Mitchell, this cat is as fearsome as a barracuda. I don't know where they found him. He's a rookie, first-year player. But, my God, last 2 weeks against the Colts and the Bears, Elijah Mitchell averaging 6.7 yards per carry. His longest run, 39 yards. 2 touchdowns. I also like Garoppolo, assuming he finishes the game. Garoppolo has been an underdog 13 times in his career. He is 10-3 against the spread as an underdog. And you're getting the added bonus here, Gascon, of being able to bet against Arizona, a team on the decline. J.J. Watt is gone. Arizona cannot stop the run. We saw Green Bay run it down their throats last week. The Cardinals have been exposed. Their offensive line missing a couple of key players. Kyler Murray, his body can't handle the NFL. He hasn't been practicing. He's injured. The little fella, I know he's fun sized and you like him, Gascon, but he has not been able to handle the rigors of the NFL. And DeAndre Hopkins also, both those guys missed multiple days of practice this week. They're dinged up. Even if they play, they'll be less than 100%. The 49ers, 24. Go Niners. And the Cardinals, 20.
Penny going with the Arizona Cardinals in this one. Going with the Birds.
All right,
Not surprised. I mean,
T-Talk.
it's the best team in the National Football League right now. J.J. Watt gets hurt every year, so I don't know why you brought that up when you're capping the game.
Best team. They're not even the number one seed in the NFC. How could they be the best team if they're not even
the number one seed in the NFC West? If the season ended today, they'd be the best team in that division. And they are because they beat the other teams.
All right,
head
so
to
here's
head.
the graph.
They beat the Rams. They beat the Rams on the road. That's why their record's 4-0 away from Arizona.
I'm doing a Maller graph here. Okay, I can't do this on the radio. All right, so at the beginning of the year, the Cardinals. This is the Cardinals over here. This is the Cardinals. So the Cardinals were up here and the Rams were here. Right now, look at this, like ships passing in the night. Look at this. Watch. Take notes, Gascon. See the Rams? See the Rams? See, they're up here now, and then the Cardinals are down here. See,
it's not how
see
it
that?
works.
That's how it happens.
Because,
I just showed you how it works.
Both teams came in with identical records when they met, and Arizona beat them on the road.
Rams
falling
were
down
looking
a peg.
ahead to Seattle. Seattle's a bigger opponent. I told you that.
Well,
you'll find out the Rams are guaranteed to beat the Cardinals the next time they play.
That's good. They earned themselves a split.
You're gonna have an out on that because Kyler Murray will be hurt by that game. He won't even play. All right, we got limited time. Next up, Sunday Night Football. Tennessee 6-2 at the LA Rams 7-1. Unbelievable! Look at that. The LA Rams have the same record as the Arizona Cardinals. Unbelievable! I can't believe it. All right, Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth have the call. The Rams open a 4-point favorite, 7.5-point favorites now. You know the story here. What a juxtaposition in this game. Von Miller making his Ram debut. The Rams, I like people saying they're trying to win it, buy a championship. I pointed out they have the 22nd highest payroll in the NFL. How are you trying to buy a championship when you have the 22nd highest payroll in the NFL? Titans beginning life without Derrick Henry, and much like the Cardinals and Rams, ships passing in the night on this one. The Titans signing the old child beater Adrian Peterson to replace O. Henry, and Jeremy McNichols is in the on-deck circle. Neither one of those guys is a game breaker, but I am actually going to take the Titans in this game. The reason, this is too many points. Ryan Tannehill, he's got a neutron bomb and a stun gun. Julio Jones, assuming he plays, and A.J. Brown to work with. I just think this line's too inflated. Mike Vrabel, 15-10 outright as a betting underdog in his career. That is the second best winning percentage, Mike Vrabel, as a dog by any coach in the Super Bowl era. There's 280 coaches that have coached a minimum of 5 games. Vrabel has historically been number 2. Rams are going to win the game, but they're not going to cover the spread. Rams 33, Titans 26, the final.
Penny's got confidence in your team. Going with the Rams. Shocker.
Shocker of shockers of shockers. All right, next up, Monday Night Football. Chicago, the Bears, 3-5, and Pittsburgh 4-3. It's on ESPN. Steve Levy, Brian Griese, and Louis Riddick. If you actually want to watch the game, if you want to watch grab ass and people sucking up to each other, talking about the good old days, you can watch the Manning cast. I believe they're back. Steelers, a 6.5-point favorite in this game. They originally were favored by 5. And this is another one of my 5-star locks. I'm taking the B-E-A-R-S Bears. Yeah. Why? These teams are amazingly even. Neither one of them is any good on offense. Both of them have decent defenses here. People are putting too much stock in Pittsburgh's win over Cleveland. They scored 15 points in that game. Steelers are 0-3 against the spread as favorites. I don't like Justin Fields, but he will at least be as good as Roethlisberger in this game. I'm getting almost a touchdown with even teams. I'll take the Steelers to win it, but the Bears to win the money. Steelers 17, Bears 14 the final. And the Penny down.
Penny's go with the Pittsburgh Steelers in this one. Oh, my.
All right. We disagree on that. So remember, thumbs up in the chat.
Thumbs up to Kyler Murray this weekend.
No, thumbs down to Kyler Murray. 5th Hour Podcast, Danny G. I hear you'll be back on Sunday for the podcast.